Hey guys, before we start, I want to let you know I'm doing a giveaway to celebrate a recent milestone in my podcast journey. I surpassed 6,000 downloads and want to say thank you to everyone who's listened and supported the podcast. So I'm giving away a $50 gift card for my favorite activewear line. Would you like a chance to win? If so, text the word midlife to 888-111 and you'll be entered to win a ZYIA active gift card. But don't think that ZYIA is only for women. They have men and kids clothes too. The winner will be contacted on July 28th. Good luck. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Open your mind and let go of the fears of midlife and aging. Some people see midlife as a time of stress and overwhelm, but we're not going to do that. We see midlife as an opportunity for continued learning and growth. Life's a journey, not a destination. It's a continual process and can get better all the time. And the best part, you can write your own rules. So in each Midlife Magic episode, we're going to have conversations with interesting and cool people that will give you the inspiration and know-how on how to live your best life. Are you ready? Let's go. Midlife is a beautiful thing. I think it gets a bad rap. And the things that I've done over the past 7-8 years to kind of change how I live my life and moving into midlife, I found a lot of people reaching out and asking me questions. And so I thought, you know what, it's just a time to pivot a little bit. And one of the things that I'm super curious about is skincare. And when I think of skincare, I think of Courtney Sykes. So welcome to the show, Courtney. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you, Lisa. You were awesome. I cannot wait to share some information with you guys and answer your questions for sure. And first of all, you have gorgeous skin and you're amazing looking, Lisa. So no issues there.
well, thank you. I so appreciate that. And I know I have been to your spa. I've been to a bunch of spas around town just because it's funny. People give gift cards for spas and then they, so you kind of like travel around and you go to different places. So could you tell us a little bit about who you are and your spa and how you got here? It's such an incredible story. You blow me away.
Oh, sure. All right. Well, it depends on how long you want this to be, but I'll start from when I was around, I guess, in high school age. So my mother started a laser center in the 1990s. And it's funny because I listened to a lot of podcasts, Lisa, and I was listening to another one about medical spas. And it was funny how they were talking about the early 2000s and kind of the things that were changing in the industry then with the market crash and all that in 2008. And I thought, well, gee, I've been in this much longer than that. And we've made it through effortlessly. I mean, there's always different things, different balls in the air. But my mother owned 2 lasers. Of course, she started doing electrolysis first. She's a type of nurse, advanced practice nurse called a nurse anesthetist. Mm-hmm. So we always say she puts people to, she passes gas for a living is what she says, which is funny. I tell my students that all the time, but it's a great position. It's kind of like a nurse practitioner in the sense that they don't have to have direct physician oversight, but enough oversight to perform things such as cosmetic lasers, microneedling, cosmetic injections, all that good stuff. So I've been around all of that since I was honestly in middle school, actually going into high school. And I always tell people I started getting Botox when I was 19 and they think that's crazy, but that's actually when I started doing it for preventative measures. So I don't want to get those wrinkles here. But as I got into college age, I went to USC Sumter for business. But actually before that, I went to USC Sumter for elementary education. And it's funny now that I teach and do all this stuff because I switched my major to business because I didn't want to teach kids. I thought in my mind, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. I changed my mind. But now I teach adults. So it's really funny how that all plays out. Yeah. But I actually took over her laser center in the management area in early 2000s when I was in college. So I was going to college, taking accounting classes, taking all these business classes, managing Southeastern Laser Med Spa in Sumter. And through that, I actually went to esthetician school also. So when you don't have kids, and I don't know if any of you remember not having kids, but when you're a mom, you can do it all. You can do the 8 o'clock clients, the 8 p.m. clients, you can get up early, you can stay up late. But now I get up at 4:30 and I am literally done for the day in my mind mentally at 5 p.m. I got to go home and rest up for the next day. But I got into education in aesthetics. Golly, when was it? When Gunnar was Well, he wasn't quite born yet. So I was about to have my son, and he's 9 years old now. And I came up with the thought, well, we're hiring all these estheticians at Southeastern Laser Med Spa, and none of them know how to work alongside physicians. They don't know what it's like to get cosmetic injections and how to do all these different treatments around medical procedures, because that was very new then. And of course, we were in a smaller town. So I said, well, when you're in your 20s and you think you can do everything, I thought, well, I'm going to open up a school. So through that avenue, I realized very quickly that I had a lot of responsibilities I needed to start really paying attention to. So I not only used to do a lot of payroll stuff by hand and all this management stuff and just kind of had to figure it out. That was perfect for starting an education institute, because I've always just had to figure things out on my own. And I said to someone the other day, Lisa, I said, you can call me Courtney Do It the Hard Way Sykes, because I promise you I've learned it the hard way. But through all of that, long story short, we started Southeastern Aesthetics Institute in Sumter, moved it here to Columbia in 2014. I started it in 2012, and I have had booked classes ever since then. And I've hired other teachers, all that good stuff. I'm sitting on the third floor of the Dupree building, which is where we currently have our administrative office. But we have 3 floors on this building, 2 floors in another building. And my husband, who we got married in 2018 now, he's now our CEO of the company. He works on more of the operations items. We're actually fixing to do a very huge renovation on Main Street and renovate the TAPS building. And we're signing that deal today, actually, and hopefully getting on that soon. And my father-in-law is up in our little loft area over there. He came from Spectrum, actually, retired from there to come on full-time as our CFO. So we have an amazing team of teachers, administrators, all that. But within this, as you know, Lisa, we have all of our client services. And I still have tons of clients that I serve today. And a lot of them love the anti-aging procedures, and they have tons of questions about it, and I love answering it. So laser treatments, microneedling, microchanneling, microblading, and micropigmentation of the brows. People love that. Tuesdays, because yesterday was Tuesday, is a full day. I don't even take a lunch. We just work straight on through and do brows. And then, of course, every other day we're doing everything else. But we do it all around here, and that's kind of where we are. So.
Wow, Courtney, that is incredible. And for those who don't live in Columbia, South Carolina, let me tell you, that is a huge, exciting thing that's going to happen. I had no idea. So congratulations on the TAPS building. And you guys, that's like, I don't even know what you would say. In Columbia, that's kind of like an icon building for retail and the downtown area. So how exciting. So wow, man. Okay. I'm just blown away by your story. And you guys, I want to share, I asked Courtney before we started how old she is, and she just turned 33. So let me tell you, I've been following you for quite some time, and I'm just so impressed by just your passion and your strengths. And I mean, this woman does not stop, and she is so centered and so powerful in so many ways. I want people to know you're so much more than just skincare. Like, you are so much more than that. And I think that's really important. And that's what drew me to want to invite you onto the show. So, all right, let's kind of dive into some midlife topics, because a lot of our listeners are wondering, what do I do? I am in my late 30s, early 40s, and my skin is starting to change. What would be some of the signs of aging for women? Like, when you think about that person who's coming in, like, what's starting to show up on their face?
Okay, so we can answer that many different ways.
Right.
And I will always say, and I say it all the time, and it's funny, I told you when we were first starting, I'm 33, but mentally I feel like I'm much older. So I very much resonate with women of all ages. And in fact, I mean, many of my employees are 10, 20, and 30 years older than I am, and we all get along very well. So I understand aging for women in every variant. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, I'm teaching a hormones class at Kiowa Island next week, and I love that. And that's actually a great place to start for women in their 30s and beyond, because hormones play such a huge role. And I'm sure you know all about this because you're the nutrition expert, Lisa. You could probably speak on this a ton as well, and I'm sure you already have. But hormones are huge. So what's going to happen aesthetically are 3 things. So 1, 2, or 3 things. It's going to be cystic hormonal acne on the jawline, Or hirsutism is the term. It's actually hormonal hair growth on the upper lip, chin, and sometimes chest. And then you might get splotchy hormonal hyperpigmentation, which just looks almost like paint splatter. So as I'm explaining that, I'm sure your listeners can think, oh gosh, well, I have one, two, or actually three of all those things. In the midst of that, you might, if it's not a hormonal issue, you're at least going to have just some wear and tear of your skin due to being in the world for so many years. I mean, that's just inevitable unless you have incredible genes. So you're going to have things such as dehydration. When I'm teaching all day long, the worst thing ever is I don't drink enough water. So I'm trying to push that more. And I'm sure tons of people can resonate with that. And then also lines and wrinkles, that's just part of life. A little bit of wrinkles are not a big deal, but of course we want to make sure we look best we can be. So there's ways to prevent and to treat what we do have for sure. And then of course, texture and just general hyperpigmentation from the sun. Being a mom that takes her kids out to the pool or the beach this summer, we can all resonate with the fact that all that sun we probably got as teenagers or kids ourselves is starting to show up on our face, neck, chest, even the hands. I mean, it's just what happens, right? Yeah. But your question is, how do you treat that? So that is very specific to every individual, right? So you need to be dedicated to the treatment of your skin for the long term. It's kind of like going to the dentist or going to the gym, right? You can't become a bodybuilder in one session. That never happens. You also need to go to the dentist every couple of months forever, truly, to keep your teeth cleaned and all that good stuff. So with skin, it's the same thing. And it's funny because aesthetics has changed so much over the years. I'm sure you agree, which is why you're drawn to it like many of our clients. It used to be that aesthetics was just beauty. So we would come in for the pampering of it. It wasn't a necessity as much as it is now. And I was even chatting with my hairstylist yesterday because I have to cover all my gray hair like everybody else. And he's a guy. He said, I want to do certain things for my skin or my weight or my health because it makes me feel better every day. It's not for somebody else, but it makes me feel better. And I think with everything going on in the world, if we can make our skin look better, if we can make our bodies look better for us, we can tackle anything mentally. We can tackle anything that causes anxiety or stress. And that's a beautiful thing. So when you do commit to that skincare journey, you're going to do a couple of different things. And you can kind of put it in a pyramid, so to speak. So at the bottom of your pyramid, you're going to have your regular facials, right? So coming in and doing a facial, and I'll explain what that is so key. So facials tend to incorporate things like double cleansing, really good exfoliation, whether it's with enzymes or something very mechanical like a gritty scrub, and then doing your treatment serums, and even massage, just the act of doing facial massage of the neck, chest, and décolleté. It seems all wonderful and frou-frou, and we appreciate that, but you actually gain amazing benefits from just blood flow in your skin. That's why all these jade rollers and all these kind of gua sha tools are so popular now. People are seeing the benefits of just manipulation of facial tissue. And it's just a neat thing. So once a month, okay, your facials. Then you can build on that. And you need to kind of decide, what kind of downtime am I willing to have to gain the result that I want? So chemical peels might be the next tier. Peels can be different things. I mean, I always say that people, if you grew up in the 90s, you watched, Sex and the City, right? And Samantha had that insane chemical peel. And we have always thought, or consumers always think, well, am I going to look red and crazy like a tomato when I come out of a peel? Not necessarily at all. In fact, now in 2020, you have the most superficial, all the way to the most in-depth, crazy chemical peels. Always start low. Always incorporate your superficial enzymes, your superficial glycolics, which produce new cells, your superficial salicylic peels, which help to eat away dirt and debris in the pore. And lactic acid is a really popular one. So lactic peels help to exfoliate yet hydrate. So it incorporates hydration back into the skin, which is huge. So peels are a big thing. You don't have to peel a lot with a peel. Oftentimes people don't realize you can actually exfoliate the skin with a peel, and you can microscopically be peeling to where you don't even see it with your own eyes. And that is what most people love, and it's more of a gradual change. The reason why that works too, Lisa, is it helps to create something called mitosis. So if you love science, which I do, it helps to take those keratinocytes, which are down here in the epidermis, and actually split them up into two new daughter cells. They migrate upwards through the layers of the skin, shed off all the old dead skin cells to produce fresh, new, shiny corneocytes. So I always explain to students, it's kind of like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. You have to push that change. And a lot of times estheticians, of course, physicians in cosmetic medicine help to push that to happen. So that's a wonderful thing. So we said facials, we said peels. Mm-hmm. Then up here, kind of at the third tier and the very top tier, you have more of your in-depth items. So when I say in-depth or more advanced aesthetics, we always want to think of things that go into the dermis. So we have our epidermis, we have our dermis, okay? So dermal tissue, you have things like collagen elastin and something called glycosaminoglycans, which bind water to your skin. I don't know about you, Lisa, but I love collagen. I want my elastin to be tight, and I need water binded to my skin. A lot of folks, as they start getting older, 30s, 40s, 50s, they start seeing these lines here, the nasolabial folds. They start seeing the vertical lip lines from drinking out of straws over time, stuff like that. And you have to get into the dermis tissue to treat that. Okay, so that is really, really fun when people kind of realize the difference between the superficial facials and just general cleansing on the surface versus some of the deeper stuff. So examples of the deeper stuff would be things like your cosmetic lasers, microneedling, and then of course dermaplaning, which can be deep because you're using, of course, a scalpel to remove lots of dead skin. So I'll finish by explaining those three. But cosmetic lasers, you have either IPL or BBL, which is more superficial in the sense of you're not going to have any downtime or ablation. So that treats reds and browns like broken capillaries, hyperpigmentation, and you get an incredible result really quick. So that's cool. And then you have your ablative lasers. So if you think of the word ablative or ablation, you think of, layers of skin coming off. But what I love to do with our clients in advanced aesthetics clinics that we have here downstairs is we do a combination of low micron settings to where you get this amazing result with less downtime. So ablative lasers doesn't have to be that scary. You can do it at a 4 micron depth or a 6 micron depth instead of a 30, 50, or 100 micron depth. You know what I mean? So that's very popular. And then microneedling is huge. I'm sure most people have heard of that these days, and that helps to do something called collagen induction therapy, which promotes a cell in your dermis called the fibroblast. And fibroblasts are what actually produce the three things that we love in the dermis, which is collagen, elastin, and those glycosaminoglycans. So you want to do the whole pyramid, Lisa. I don't know if that makes any sense, but at least something different once a month, and you're going to be good forever, okay? Yeah. And then, of course, home care is a different story, but I hope that helps explain.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Courtney, you just I feel like I just sat in one of your classes and just got the intro to aesthetics and procedures. So thank you so much for going over all that. That really helps me kind of get a framework for, okay, well, what do I need to do next and what do I need to work on? This episode of the Midlife Magic podcast is sponsored by my favorite fitness apparel, ZYIA Active. I discovered ZYIA Active when I went looking for high quality and premium workout clothes, just like those luxury store and catalog brands, yet I wanted a budget-friendlier price tag. I love this brand because I live a very active lifestyle. I work out about 5 days a week, plus I love to go for runs and long walks, which I consider to be my very important self-care and podcast listening time. The clothes stay put, I'm not constantly pulling on my leggings or tugging on my sports bras, and they accentuate me in all the right places. And when I work from home, they are the perfect clothes for being comfortable and still stylish. And I can transition to running out the door to pick up our girls or run errands while still looking put together in my athleisure styles. My favorite workout leggings are the Lighten Tights, and my favorite everyday wear are the Everywhere pants. Yes, I literally wear them everywhere, every day. I can even wear them to business meetings or client consultations, and I can dress them up or down easily. Want to learn more? Head over to lisamustard.com and click on the activewear page. You can learn all about ZYIA Active, the mission, the clothes, and see if they are a fit for you and your active life. From weight training to running to Zumba to yoga to CrossFit to bar to walking to tennis, ZYIA Active has you covered. And don't forget about the active men in your life. They have an amazing men's line, plus clothes for active kids too. That's ZYIA like papaya active. So see my site for all the details. That's lisamustard.com/active-wear. Okay, I have a question about the at-home care because, we come into your spa and we spend the time, we spend the money, and then we go home. And so there's so many products out there. And I swear every day I am getting an email from Ulta. I am getting a message from a girlfriend who sells, an all natural product. And now there's like 15 million to look at or to decide. And, for somebody like me who knows it's important, but yet doesn't really take the time and energy like I do for skincare, maybe like I do for other things like that I'm really focused on. What do you recommend? Like, how do we weed through all this information? Now, first of all, I want to just preface this by saying, I know you just came out with your at-home skincare line and it looks amazing. I know you, and I know your goal isn't like, okay, let's get them on my program or my regimen. But when you were kind of putting all that together, I'm sure that kind of played into how you decided to pivot into that realm too. So that's a big question, and I'm going to stop talking and let you.
Oh, I have this question all the time, so
Okay.
I have the perfect answer for you. Because we should never look at brands. I'm not going to talk about mine or any other brands. Here's the simple answer for your listeners today, okay?
Okay.
So remember the pyramid that I just said, right?
Yes.
With products for at-home skincare, you're going to have 3 tiers. You're going to have over-the-counter, you're going to have professional or clinical grade, and then you're going to have prescription.
Right.
Okay, so scientifically, you have to take the person or the brand or that sort of thing out of the equation and simply look at the facts and the science in order for you to make that choice yourself based on those items. So here you go. Over-the-counter products, if you have 2 different sorts of things in products at all, Lisa, you have active ingredients and you have vehicles, right? Active ingredients are what actually create the change, and vehicles are what drive it where it needs to go in your skin. So we kind of just said that the better cells that produce all this change are a little bit deeper down in our skin anyways, right? So you have those keratinocytes that we need to change in that lower level, the epidermis. And then we also need to get to the collagen, elastin, and the dermis. So just remember active ingredients and vehicles for a moment. All right. So back to over-the-counter, you have over-the-counter products. The active ingredients are going to be very minimal, okay? So if you look at the ingredient label, you're going to notice that retinol, for example, is going to be very low on the totem pole, whereas, let's say, glycerin, petroleum, mineral oil, all these terrible binders and fillers and vehicles are actually going to be above it. So if retinol is way down here, you can make the predisposed notion that it's going to be very low in percentage. Therefore, all these larger molecules above it, Lisa, are not going to allow that to even penetrate. And when I work with labs and scientists, they will even tell you right now that there's plenty of companies out there that sell to your CVS pharmacies, the Walmarts of it all, that sort of thing, that do that in order to make a better profit margin. If they have less of the active ingredient and more of the vehicle, they can buy the SKU at, let's say, $2, sell it to Walmart for, $5. And then of course you can, Walmart might charge $8 or $12 or $15 for that serum. Okay. So their profit margins are definitely bigger there, and you are doing mass consumer sales. Okay. So when I say over-the-counter products, you're definitely not going to see those results. It's not the worst thing in the world, but if you're actually looking to treat hormonal anything or anti-aging anything, you're better left not spending those dollars, even though it's cheaper.
Right.
So when I say over the counter, I mean anything at those big box stores is what they're technically called, or even, people that sell things from home. And I don't want to use that term. I'm sure you know what I mean. But if they're not a licensed provider, they most certainly won't actually have the access to those higher end active ingredients. And therefore, those items might be overpriced over-the-counter items, if that makes sense. And then the last thing in over-the-counter, you might see department stores that sell makeup brands, okay, that just decided to go into skincare. A lot of those salespeople are not licensed professionals either. So they actually can't even explain the science behind what ingredient does what in the ingredient label. And that's in essence an overpriced, over-the-counter product too. Okay.
Okay.
Then your professional tier 2 products are going to be a higher percentage of active ingredients, and the vehicles are very, very small. So they're actually going to drive it into the skin a lot quicker. So if you're comparing over-the-counter versus professional, I always use this analogy. If you have a hill and you have a car, like an old truck that's huffing and puffing its way up the hill and it can't quite get there, those are the vehicles in the, over-the-counter products. They're not going to quite get to the destination, so therefore they can't deliver those goods, right? Mm-hmm. Then if you think of your favorite race car or sports car or fancy car, let's think of a Lamborghini, for example. Your professional tier products are going to just simply zip those active ingredients where it needs to go so fast you don't even have to think about it. So just because a product looks the same, might look like a cream or a serum next to the other, the nanotechnology is completely different. So here's how that looks. And you mentioned Ulta, for example, which is great. Have you ever noticed that Ulta has two sides of the store with skincare? Mm-hmm. They have kind of an over-the-counter side, and then they have a professional side. And they actually employ licensed professionals, and they have, a complete differentiation. So people don't quite understand that, but if you pay attention, you'll see what side of the store you can purchase from 100%. And then you have prescription products, that tier 3. Mm-hmm. That's going to be things like your tretinoins, the Retin-A's of them all. I'm sure everybody's used that at least once or twice. And then, of course, my favorite is hydroquinone at 4%. All those things are relatively toxic to your body, though, for long periods of time. Mm-hmm. Your skin also gets very used to things very quickly. So it's never a good idea to allow dermatologists so-and-so to place you on prescription Retin-A or tretinoin, which is the same thing. It's prescription retinol for long periods of time. If your skin actually stops sloughing off, that means your skin's gotten used to it and you're doing nothing more than just delivering a lot of toxic ingredients into your skin. Mm-hmm. And so the last thing, of course, to consider with any clinical grade, that second tier, and that's where you want to live, is you want to look for, and I'm sure you can agree with this, Lisa, being in nutrition and everything, you want to look for vehicles that are not full of just all these horrible ingredients, right? You don't want things to be delivered that are going to cause you harm over long periods of time. So things like seaweed extract or even vitamin C as a vehicle or other natural carriers like that, that's going to be the better choice. Mm-hmm. So it does take some learning, you know what I mean, to understand the difference between active ingredients and then vehicles. But once you do, you can make those decisions and you can choose different brands from different people, and it's not such a overwhelming thing.
Right. Yeah. And that really helps kind of wrap my brain around how to do this and what to look for. And because it's very overwhelming. And, you walk into these stores and you hear about this and that and this product and this and that, and then collagen. And now you need the hormonal acne stuff. It's like, oh my gosh. And then how do you know what to put on first? And how do you know? And then I just throw my hands up in the air and go, oh, I don't even know anymore. Like, it's frustrating, but then it's kind of comical at the same time in a way. So, okay. My next question would be, when you think about a budget for your skincare as you age, I like how you said it's an investment and it's a preventative thing. It's like going to the dentist. It's like going to the gym. It's like eating healthy. You can't just do it once and expect long-term results, right? So if we think about a monthly budget for me, I just use me, like in my 40s, it sounds like a facial is important once a month, some type of facial. Okay. And then I want to be looking at a cleanser, a high quality cleanser, right? I know that much. But then after there, I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And I know you said it's dependent upon the person and their skin and what.
This question, I know exactly what you're saying.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So now that y'all kind of understand the tier 1, 2, and 3, Lisa, now your question is, okay, well, now that I've got this clinical grade stuff, how do I use it? So here's what you need to do. So here's how you do it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you have a set thing that you do. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you have a set thing that you do. Okay. So and I'm going to reflective question you for a minute. When you think of a cream, Lisa, versus a serum, What do you think the difference is to you? And I'm genuinely curious, what do you think the difference is?
Well, a serum to me is a thinner, more maybe astringent, maybe or something more powerful, more potent.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay.
So if it's thinner, that means the molecules are smaller.
Hmm.
And do we need to get down deeper? We do. So you need those serums in order to actually benefit the skin and give you that change overnight. I mean, most
Okay.
people, they spend money, they want to see the change very swiftly.
Mhm.
So you want to really put your investment and your dollars into your treatment serums, okay?
Okay.
So when I teach ingredient knowledge, you're going, and I'll wrap all this up too. When you teach ingredient knowledge, you have to put things into different categories because I'm a visual learner too, and I totally get it. Otherwise, it's very overwhelming. So you're going to have acids and you're going to have nourishers, okay? Acids are ingredients that break cells down. Nourishers are ingredients that build cells up. So I'll give you 3 examples from each category that would benefit anti-aging, right? So in your acid column, you need that glycolic acid. We mentioned that a minute ago. It produces mitosis primarily, which means new cell growth. If you have deep lines of wrinkles, pitted acne scarring from your teenage years or something like that, glycolic acid is the way to go. So what do you need to have at home? A glycolic acid serum that's super concentrated, okay?
Hmm.
Glycolic acid should actually be at the top, at least within the 1 to 4 ingredient on the label.
Okay.
Then another acid, of course, that you can choose in a serum form would be lactic acid. Most people love that one because it binds water to your skin, but also exfoliates. So you see this new cell growth the very next day, and it's just amazing, and people love it. So what do you also need? A lactic acid serum, okay?
Hmm.
Then the third one, for those that have hyperpigmentation, this is also a good choice. There is an AHA, an alpha hydroxy acid called kojic acid, Kojic. It's very naturally derived. It's not like the prescription hydroquinone that is very, very lightening to the skin, which I love, but it's also very toxic, right?
Mm.
So kojic acid is a better choice.
Okay.
So if you have the choice to do a glycolic serum, a lactic serum, and a kojic serum, your listeners need to ask themselves, do I have at least 1 or 2 of those, right? And I need to be alternating those and maybe doing my acids on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then let's switch over to the nourishers on Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, right? There we go.
Right.
Whatever the other day is. But nourisher examples, and I'll just list 3 for now. Of course, most people are very familiar with hyaluronic acid, which actually is not an acid in the sense of it's breaking your skin cells down. It's actually a molecule that is a glycosaminoglycan that we naturally have in our body that is a protein molecule, and it plumps up the skin. So many of us need that. We've lost our natural hyaluronic acid over time. So topically applying that just binds water to your skin. It doesn't bind oil, so that's great. And it just gives you that water, that hydration, that plumping that you need. So you're going to need a hyaluronic acid-based serum.
Okay.
Then another one is vitamin C, also known as ascorbic acid. So you might see the term ascorbic acid in your ingredient label, and that is wonderful. Here's what you need to do with vitamin C always, okay? You need to use it in the morning only, and here is why. Vitamin C, as we know, is always an antioxidant, right? So it actually neutralizes out the effectiveness of anything else you might pair with it. So let's say you put your glycolic acid serum down and decided to put your vitamin C serum on top of it. The vitamin C is actually going to cancel out the effectiveness of glycolic because that antioxidant actually neutralizes free radicals or neutralizes anything that kind of stands in its way, which kind of speaks to the benefit of it, which is a beautiful thing. So only use it in the morning up underneath your sunscreen. It actually boosts the effectiveness of your sunscreen. So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So vitamin C serum in the morning under your sunscreen. And then another nourisher that's really popular these days are peptides. So in an ingredient label, you're going to see a couple different ones. There's actually probably 40 plus different ones that are synthetically and scientifically made to mimic protein binders in your skin that kind of create a chain link fence and pull everything up. So you might see oligopeptide 7, pentapeptide 5, tetrapeptide 15, all these kind of things. But as long as it's a long word with the word peptide in it, you will be good to go. And just make sure, like I said, they're in that first couple of ingredients. and instantaneously you'll start seeing things lifting up. It's perfect for the anti-aging client. It nourishes the skin. You feel hydrated. So a peptide infused serum, okay? So to answer your questions, serum, serum, serum everywhere. We're going to alternate an acid and nourisher each night of the week. So I gave you about 6 choices. Truly pick about 3, maybe 2 acids, 1 nourisher, or 1 acid, 2 nourishers. And there you go. That's it. You don't have to buy 5 million different things in order to get those results. You just need to know to buy the right thing.
Right.
Now, if somebody feels like they have drier skin, because I know the big question is, well, Courtney, why would I not do a thick cream? You can totally do that, but you're going to actually put your serum on first, let that dry in completely as to not dilute your products. Then you can take a very nice hyaluronic acid infused hydrator that's a little bit thicker and place right on top. You're good to go. Everybody's happy. And there you have it. So, and then the last thing, because you mentioned cleanser, so backing up to the cleansing step, make sure you're using something that removes all of your makeup, and you do it twice. You cleanse your skin twice, once to remove your makeup and once to cleanse your skin. And then the last and final thing with cleansing, you need something at least a couple of nights a week, like a granular scrub, something that's gritty in order to get off that dead skin. Because I think what we have taken away from this is your skin needs to have channels in order for all those awesome serums to penetrate. So how can you nourish or break down skin cells that are dead skin cells sitting on top of your skin? So cleansing correctly, removing all that with a scrub, and then infusing your serums and just packing on a hydrator if needed, you're good to go. That's it.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I feel ready to like walk in and know what I need. So thank you so much for just like sharing all of that wisdom and knowledge. Gosh, this has been so informative. Is there anything else I should have asked you that we didn't cover regarding skincare?
I mean, there's so many different things. I think the baseline for everything that you probably discuss is, of course, nutrition and making sure your health and your hormones are first priority. Okay. So I always say, try to cut back on the cheese, try to cut back on any dairy, anything that's going to prohibit your skin treatments and products from even working because your hormones are out of whack. We want to tackle that first and foremost. I do suggest a lot of folks going and getting hormone testing done, either via a blood test or a saliva test. Sometimes it's good to do both and kind of compare your results and then go from there. That is the biggest thing that women in particular deal with going into their 30s and 40s is hormonal change. It's very shocking to people. It makes you not feel good. It makes you not want to get out of bed in the morning. It makes you different with your mood. And then your skin is just honestly a secondary side effect of that. So focus on that first and then get into your treatments and your skincare products and you're going to be all set.
That's so helpful. I'm so glad you brought that up. And I think that's something that is kind of ingrained in me is nutrition first. And I once had a esthetician tell me, because I was, when I first, then my very first peel, I remember going and it was a gift. All of my peels are gifts, which I find fascinating. It's maybe they're trying to tell me something. And I said, what's the best thing I can do? And she said, well, really, honestly, you just need, she's like, you already do it. You get all your nutrients, you eat the rainbow, just keep eating healthy because that actually shows up on your skin. And that really stuck with me when I met with her. And I thought, okay, well, that's a great place to start. Now that I'm there, what do I do on the outside? So this has been just incredible. Okay. I just want to ask you a few more questions. Can we talk a little bit about personally your life? And I want to ask this question. What recent purchase have you made that's around under $50 that you can't live without?
Oh my goodness, under $50. Well, and this literally just happened this week if you're asking, but as a busy woman, I'm trying to balance everything. I think one of the biggest things that we as women kind of probably don't focus on as much is how to make our lives easier because we are busy, we have kids, and we do all this kind of stuff. So it's a funny little purchase, but I actually purchased a charging station, Lisa, for my bedside table that actually holds your Apple Watch, your phone, your AirPods, all these things. And to me, that was just the neatest thing ever. And it was under $50. But
That's cool.
anything to make getting up at 4:30 in the morning easier and not even having to think about it, I would get for sure.
Yeah, I love how you said making our lives easier, because I talked to a lot of women who are super busy and we're trying to do all the things. Okay. And then I had another question for you, Courtney. So you're working with your husband. You guys are working together.
Yes.
Wow. What's that like?
So the thing about my husband is, here's the Lord, God's honest truth for sure is, I've been married before. I'm sure we've all had terrible boyfriends and stuff in our lives, and you kind of just figure it out as you go. Life has not been perfect for sure, but I found my husband, and he is a neat guy. He came from a background in medical sales. And so he was actually not a salesperson per se. He actually was the project manager for a big company and did a lot of overseas travel and product development and all that. So you can kind of see how that plays into what we do now. But we have a lot of patience with one another, and it didn't always come that way. So when we first started working together a couple of years ago, we had to really define our roles. And he does this department, right? And I do this over here. So funny enough, for the summer, he's actually working from home and focusing on these big deals we're signing, right? And he'll probably be on site focusing on the construction of all of that. But we work together, but we also work in separate departments. And I think for many people that decide to work with their husbands or their wives, it can be possible. And we talk so often. We just went to Kiowa for my birthday the weekend of June 13th. And we love sitting together, and we get the best ideas talking about the future and different goals we have, different management-based objectives for our employees, different things and bonuses and benefits we can do for our staff members, other projects we have outside of the school, different things we want to purchase or get into, whatever it is. And we love that downtime. We actually have our best business meetings by the pool, by the beach, with a cocktail, something like that. And then when it comes to business during the day, we are all in. I'm in my department, he's in his department, but we utilize our downtime to really love on one another and care about each other and really listen to each other. And then we put it into action during the day. So I don't know if that kind of makes any sense at all, but he is the best person I've ever met. I cannot even tell you. And when you find a partner like that wants to do for you and support your goals and things you've already built and just take it to the next level, is such an incredible thing. I know how lucky I am in that aspect, but I know I've not always had that, which is why I recognize it now.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's really cool. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean, being able to partner with your partner. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Gosh, I have learned so much, and I'm so grateful for your time. I just can't get over the wisdom and the knowledge that you shared. You are one special lady. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lisa. I love you very much, and hope it's the best day ever. Thank you very much.
Well, that's this week's episode of the Midlife Magic podcast.
Don't forget to join us next time for another episode. Thank you for listening.